the Hudson family band has reunited. Indeed, it is now stronger than ever, with 7 band members, including Daniel, bass, Maria, flutes, Matthew, lead guitar, vocals, Suzanne, lead vocals, keyboards, Tommy, drums, Carla, second guitar, and Laura, horns. Despite Suzanne's insistence that no cover songs be included on the band's studio albums, Daniel and Maria insisted that cover songs be played in their live performances to pad out the shows, a compromise Suzanne accepted.
Alright, everyone, we will now play one of our favorite songs, from the new age band Cusco, Little Pigeon and Crazy Horse.
Jason, I need to ask a favor of you. Could you read this report I wrote today? It's based on the police report made by Carrie this afternoon.
Oh, my God.
I can't bring myself to do it because I myself have a 2-year-old. So this is really painful, thinking this could have happened to my Richard. You don't have kids yet, so...
Well, Jennifer and I are thinking of having a baby next year, so...
Huh? I thought her name was Olivia.
That's her middle name and she uses it for her public appearances. She hates her first name and only allows her parents and me to call her that. And she did tell me last week she wants to ditch her first name completely. Hello, I am Jason Laker, and this is the Debbie and Carrie Show. Today I am filling in for the regular hosts. And now we have a truly tragic story. Carol Manford, age 34, was stopping at a grocery store at our town to fill out an employment application. During her stay there she left her 3-year-old daughter in her car. The windows were all rolled up to prevent a carjacking. And then, when she came out nearly 2 hours later, her little girl was dead of a heat stroke. Please, for the love of God, don't ever leave your child or pet alone in a car like that, especially on a summer day. The fact is that when the air outside is 80 to 90 degrees, the temperature inside the car can rise to over 150 degrees, hot enough to kill someone who is unable to open the door. That actually happened to a cousin of mine when I was 3 years old. He was around my age. So that sort of thing could have happened to me too.
Oh no.
I know how outraged you are about what you had to do today. It's never easy to deal with a dead child, especially as a mother yourself.
That's right. If that poor mother hadn't already been crying her eyes out, I think I would have strangled her.
Well, I have a means of you getting your aggressions and frustrations out.
I'm glad you are a crash test dummy, so I won't have to apologize for all this.
The news network founded by Debbie, Carrie, Suzanne, and Laura was originally named the Queer Avengers Network in reference to the investigative agency based in Dallas that Charles McKinsey founded. But after Suzanne and Laura withdrew to devote more time to the reformed Hudson Phamily band, the network was renamed the Debbie and Carrie Show.
Hello, I am Carrie Sims and I will be your reporter tonight. Here's a bit of history to consider. Dr. James Barry was a British Army surgeon for most of his life. He pioneered methods of C-sections which increased survival rates for both mothers and their babies and improved many hospitals that served the poor of Canada. But after he died, it was discovered that his original identity was Margaret Ann Bulkley, and he had been assigned a female at birth. Today, he would be considered transgender. Back then the truth about him was suppressed because he would have been considered a pervert had the public known about his true nature. Carrie, I just got a call from a TV network executive based in Los Angeles. He wants to hire us to work as reporters at his network and he is offering us $100,000 a year for joining with him. Wow! He must have been impressed by our work these past few months. Certainly the vast amounts of money would be a big help in raising our son and our niece Annika. Sandy, why did you ask to see us privately? I just got an offer to sell this restaurant. The offer came from a national chain of Italian restaurants called Olive Garden. I wanted to let you know about it. I've heard of them and I have eaten at a couple of their places. How much money did they offer you? $4 million. Sandy, Do not sell this place. I only agreed to be a waitress here because I would be working for you personally. If you give up this place, I will quit immediately. I won't work for some giant corporation. And I've heard too many stories of individuals selling their small companies to some giant corporation and then everything goes to hell because the corporation is obsessed with profit above principles. EA, the notorious video game company, is a particularly outrageous example. Debbie, I wouldn't take that offer. Sure, you would be paid more, but there would be a price for that. You might be expected to sign a contract binding you to only saying what the TV executives want you to say. Like that report Carrie did today about the British surgeon. Do you think a network like CNN or Fox News would accept that? As independent agents, you will always be free to say what you want, even if you don't make a lot of money. You are right, Mother. We should never sell out. Our integrity means everything, and we need to teach both our viewers and our son that too. Robot, answer the door.
As you command.
Steve, what brings you here?
Sandy, I have news for you. Denise and I won our legal battle against your niece Rebecca. As a result, Rebecca was forced to leave the mansion she had been living in that had been owned by Diana. Also, Denise got ownership of the modeling agency based in Oklahoma City that Diana owned. She quickly learned how much many of the models of that agency disliked Diana, but Denise promised to make changes to treat those models better. Everything that Diana had is now ours. Together, Denise and I are worth over $1 billion.
Awesome. I imagine you can do a lot of good with all that money.
Yeah, but there is a problem. Because Rebecca had lost access to Diana's fortune and had become homeless, she dumped her new baby onto her parents, just as she had all her other kids. But her parents refused to keep the new baby. Instead, they gave the baby boy to me and Denise. So now we are parents. I have an heir to my and Denise's estate, and we will make sure he is raised properly, not like Rebecca and Diana might have raised him.
Wonderful. I knew I did the right thing divorcing you so you and Denise could have a family together.
Indeed. And because you are related to the baby, who we have named Stan Miller, Denise wanted to know if you would be Stan's godmother. Yeah, I didn't think an atheist like you would appreciate that, so never mind. But Denise wants to raise Stan in some kind of religion anyway, so she and I will be joining the All Souls UU Church in Tulsa.
So, are you ready for this?
I think I am. Now that you have given me a firm grounding in Islamic teachings, and we have become engaged, it is time to face my mother. Speak of the devil.
Scott, I come back here from Houston to see you and you tell me to meet you in this pizza place. And who is this woman?
Mother, this is Aisha Nazar, the woman I am going to marry. And she is a Muslim.
A Muslim? But aren't you a Jehovah's Witness?
I was. But Aisha convinced me that she would marry me if I became a follower of her religion instead, and she has been teaching me all about it. About how the Prophet Muhammad united the Arab tribes, and they became the center of one of the world's most powerful empires in less than a century. About how the teachings of Islam are followed by over 1 billion people around the world. Islam accepts Jesus as a prophet, but it also says Muhammad brought the Quran to us to renew God's religion. As a messenger of Allah, only Muhammad had the authority to do that, not anyone else, not even the Watchtower. So I am Muslim too.
Well, at least you still believe in some version of Jehovah, even if he is called by a different name. And you are not an atheist like your Aunt Lucy. I could never forgive her betrayal of Jehovah, which was 1,000,000 times worse than what you have become. And Aisha, you'd better take good care of my son. Or you will answer to me. Now goodbye. I'm glad that's over with. But I can tell she is still angry at us.
That's her problem. We are adults and so we have our own lives to live. Now let's plan our wedding. Hello, and welcome to the Rouge Scumpa Show. Once again, the leadership of this country has failed us.
as we plunge into a recession accompanied by huge inflation rates, huge unemployment rates, limited supplies of various goods, and excessive taxes on businesses that would otherwise be more effective in providing for the needs of the people. It is my hope that in the next election the people will vote out the Democrats and return the Republicans to power so we can fix our economy.
That liar. He is claiming that government actions are responsible for our economy failing, but that would only make sense if the government directly controlled the economy. But it does not, because we live in a capitalist society, not a socialist one. And because we live under capitalism, the responsibility for our problems is solely that of the corporations which dominate the economy. But Rouge Scumball won't go after them because many of them actually own the news networks, including the one Scumball is employed by. So why do so many believe him? Because of political tribalism. They trust him because he is a Republican like them. Back when I was married to your father and we were working together in his law firm, we knew a guy who was a staunch Republican.
Of course I am going to vote for the Republicans. My family and I have always done that. Yeah, and that's what makes you so goddamn stupid. If a neo-Nazi ran as a Republican and won the nomination to be governor of our state, would you still vote for him? If so, you are un-American.
Rich is right. The Republican Party of this age is nothing like that of the 1860s. And likewise, the Democrats have changed too. Party labels are irrelevant, it is actual ideology that matters. Then, as now, I am loyal to no party, but I am loyal to a progressive ideology and reject the conservative one of people like Rouge Scumball. And it should never matter what the condition of our economy is. We should vote according to our ethical principles and not for selfish and shallow reasons like how much money we have or even if we are employed. I get it. Just knowing that Rouge Scumball and other Republicans are anti-LGBT rights is enough reason for me as a lesbian to oppose them. If we are not willing to consistently both vote and fight for our rights and dignity as human beings, we might as well surrender to the bigots now.
It has been 2 months since the Sims couple and Vicky moved back to the town in Texas after their brief stay in Boston. And now someone has arrived from Boston to visit them. However,
So I invited Chandra and Renee to come visit me next summer. The summer camp that was burned up has now been rebuilt, so I hope they will like it. And I want them to meet Paul and others in our town too.
Good. We can. I'll get that. Hello, Mrs. Sims. Perhaps you don't remember me, but I am Angel Micron. Carrie and I used to be classmates. Oh, you were much more than that, weren't you? You were supposed to be Carrie's best friend. Until you stole her boyfriend from her. When Carrie found out what you did, she cried her eyes out. It's a good thing we moved away from Boston soon afterwards. Carrie wanted to kick your ass. Well, if she had, I would have deserved it. This was supposed to be her address, so I thought I should meet with her again and apologize. Is she here? No, she is living in a mansion on the other side of town with her wife and son. One moment. Carrie, you remember Angel, who used to be your best friend in school? Well, she just came here to see you. Are you willing to meet with her? I haven't seen her in nearly a decade. Even when I would return to Boston for visits, she and I would never talk. So why is she here to see me now? I don't know, but I can say this. She is alone and she seems depressed. She says she is sorry for betraying you. I don't want her coming to my home. Give her the address to the Tuscany Tavern and I will meet her there in 1 hour. Good idea. I will also tell Lucy to expect you.
Welcome to the Tuscany Tavern. What would you like to order?
A large pepperoni pizza and a glass of red wine, please.
Sure, hi. Excuse me. I'm sorry to bother you, Mrs. Sims, but I think I may be going into labor now. Those cramps I was feeling earlier are getting worse and... Ow.
Your water just broke. I will call for an ambulance, and I will also call Eric.
Okay, but I still need to give you this.
I'm sorry for the delay. The waitress that took your order had to go to hospital.
Is she having her baby now? She looked like she was about to pop.
Yes. And aren't you Angel, who used to be Carrie's friend?
So this Angel stole your first boyfriend from you when you had just turned 13.
Yes. I was her best friend for 5 years, but then she flushed all that down the toilet to get herself a boy I wanted and loved. My first love ever, and she ruined that experience. I never forgave either of them.
And that makes me wonder, why were you so accepting of me dating Laura Park? You didn't think I had betrayed you like Angel did?
Well, to be honest, I was a bit upset. But at that time I considered our romance to be only a temporary thing. Since already you told me I was free to date others, it would have been unfair to be jealous and turn towards you. Unlike Angel, who snuck around behind my back, you told me to my face of your interest in Laura, that you wanted to help her learn what being a lesbian was all about. Plus, your dumping me was justified because I'd been insensitive toward you with regards to your mourning your father. And finally, I still had an interest in boys, including Jason, who I started dating after you. The point is, you and I needed to spend some time apart and seeing others before we could know we were truly right for each other. Once we got back together, I realized that no one else would ever do for me. And now we are married and have a son. Marrying you was the best thing I've ever done. You are my soulmate, Debbie.
Debbie and Carrie now arrive at the Tuscany Tavern.
Carrie, are you sure you want to see her? I can only assume she came all this way to try to make things right with me. Let's get this over with.
Carrie, is that you? You look so different now.
Yes. I grew up. And it seems you haven't.
Touché. But I wanted to tell you how sorry I am. Patrick told me he was through with you and wanted me instead, but I know now I should have told you about what he said before I started dating him. He and I dated for 6 months before I caught him cheating on me. If he will cheat with you, then he will cheat on you too. That was a lesson my own father had to learn after he and my mother got divorced because he had an affair with a woman who then abandoned him. I wish I could take back what I did. And for so long, I was afraid to even talk to you again because I thought you still hated me. But now I have to.
Why?
I got hooked on drugs for about 3 years and it ruined my life. I was expelled from school and my parents finally forced me into rehab. I underwent a 12-step program to get myself clean, and one of those steps is to contact others that you have wronged in the past and try to make amends to them. So I apologize to you now. Will you forgive me?
Yes. It seems we have both become better people after all.
So is this your wife? Your mother Jessica mentioned her, but I thought you were straight.
Debbie started out as my new best friend, replacing you in my life. But after realizing that she and I were both LGBT, we became lovers and then we married. Even though I originally thought I would only marry a man, Debbie turned out to be better for me than anyone else and I wouldn't trade her for any man now.
Wow. I'm definitely not lesbian, but I get it. There is just something about women loving other women that makes the whole thing so beautiful. But I knew that already from seeing how much your mothers loved each other. And they are still together?
Yes, they were the ones that taught me from babyhood what it meant to love others. I wouldn't want to have any other family now. My 2 mothers and my wife are my inspirations. Thanks to them, I am totally happy and loved.
Good, then you and I are done. Debbie, enjoy the rest of your life with this amazing lady. I'm sorry I hurt her, and I hope you never will.
Thanks. And have a good night. So how do you feel now? Much better. Forgiving Angel was the right thing to do. But she only ate 2 slices of this pizza. I guess she wanted to share it with me.
No reason we can't eat the rest of it ourselves. Mother Lucy, could you give us some water?
Sure. Enjoy your free meal. Debbie, I think I know what you are crying about. I just heard it on the news this afternoon too. Carrie, hold me. How could this have happened to us, Carrie? First last week the Supreme Court rules that states may ban gay marriage, and then today the governor of Texas signs into law a bill rushed through the state legislature making our very existence as a married couple illegal. I feel like we are about to be persecuted. And what are we going to tell our son and our niece Annika? It's Mother Jessica. Carrie, I assume you were aware that the Texas government has now made same-sex marriages like that of me and Lucy as well as that of you and Debbie illegal. Yeah, and how insane is it to just say that my love for Debbie and your love for Mother Lucy is not as good and worth protecting under the law as any union between couples of opposite genders? We've got to fight back. As long as Texas is dominated by the Republican Party, there is little we can do. I was speaking with my brother and he was suggesting we all go live in Boston once more. Massachusetts legalized same-sex marriage long before the Supreme Court decision making it legal in all 50 states. I think we had this sort of discussion before. I just got off the phone with my mother. She is urging us to move back to Boston and live with her so we will be safe. Mother Jessica, are you sure running away is the best option? Like Debbie and her mother said to us, sometimes you have to stay and fight not only for our rights, but the rights of all that may be oppressed or discriminated against. Carrie, I just don't want you to be hurt again. After what nearly happened to Debbie at school last week, I fear things may get even worse. I understand now that small towns like this have always been hotbeds of bigotry and ignorance. In a big city, there is more diversity and therefore more support for people like us. But even in Boston, there are racists like the ones who attacked my family decades ago. And if we leave, what about Sandy, Debbie and James? They will still be facing anti-atheist bigotry, so they should have our support too. We all want to do what is right and sometimes that involves taking risks and making sacrifices. So I say let us stay and fight. Indeed, our willingness to stay put later led the culture of this town to change and now most of the people here accept us. But it's a far more difficult matter to change an entire state. Debbie, this is Vicky Jones. Is it true that your home state has now banned gay marriage? Yes. This is a shock to me and I and Carrie are trying to process it. Well, gay marriage is legal here and there are no signs my home state intends to ban it, so why not move here to Patagonia City? Paul and I will help you find a new place and then you can come here in a few weeks. One moment. Carrie, what do you think? I think, more for Richard's sake than ours, we should move soon. He needs to live in a place where he won't be treated as a lesser being for having a same-sex couple as his parents. So we will accept Vicky Jones's offer. It is decided. We will come to live in your city. And thank you for the invitation. Great. I will tell Paul.
And with that, Debbie and Carrie take one small step for their freedom, and one giant leap into another universe. That of Mary Bliss Pianocat 1977. Watch her channel for more episodes featuring Debbie and Carrie over the next few weeks, at least.